Chapter 36. Ascending the stairs at the High Street subway station, Warble pulls his coat up over his ears as he joins the flow of foot traffic on the street. He shifts his eyes from side to side, on the lookout for any would-be kidnappers. Doing his best turtle imitation, Warble shrinks his head as far as he can down into his coat and whistles "Happy Together" under his breath. He doesn't want to attract undue attention by being suspiciously quiet. Warble slips quietly into his hotel room, inadvertently startling Mary. Until Warble's sudden appearance, she had been totally engrossed in the television special Wheeling in the Years, a 90-minute show featuring the most memorable moments from Wheel of Fortune. "Why home so early, dear?" Mary gasps, recovering from the minor shock. "Pack your things, Mary. We've got to rip this joint. I was cheated out of a fortune today, and those who bilked me want to kidnap me. We may have only minutes. Hurry! Grab your slippers, your robe, and your makeup case. I'll get my shaving kit and my notes." In scarcely 8 seconds, Warble is ready to go. "Come on, Mary, there's no time for dilly-dallying around. Leave those papers and that old box of vanilla wafers." Mary is standing in the middle of the room, looking around in confusion, wondering if she is forgetting something important. Warble grabs Mary by the hand. "Don't look back, Mary. It's time for me to fly. New York's not my home, and it's hard to be a saint in this city anyway." The McGorkles take the stairs instead of the elevator for 2 reasons. First, Warble wants to prevent a potential kidnapping of himself, and second, he wants to avoid walking past the hotel's front desk, as the clerks might deduce that their most illustrious guests are leaving and ask to be remunerated for the stay. Warble will gladly pay sometime, but not today. "Today is never a good day to pay," Warble is fond of saying, as well as "why pay today when you can easily postpone payment until tomorrow?" And, as the great philosopher John Fogerty said, tomorrow never comes. As the McGorkles hurry down the side street to where they've parked their PTC, Warble turns to look at a street person who is sitting against the side of a building, tin cup in hand. Warble is hoping the man is sound asleep or drunk so that he can quickly and quietly spirit away any bills he may have in his cup. To Warble's dismay, though, the man is wide awake and fully alert. Warble's eyes practically bulge right out of his head when he takes a close look at the man's face. He turns away as quickly as possible and whispers to Mary, "Hey, I recognize that guy dressed up like a bum. He used to be a nose tackle for the Denver Broncos." Mary's eyebrows gather. "He tackled noses?" she asks. "Whatever for?" "You're the one that claims that football is America's #1 sport, and you don't know the first thing about it, do you, Mary? There are 2 reasons a nose tackle is called a nose tackle, besides the fact that it sounds so suave and debonair, that is. Namely these. 1. These highly skilled professionals are trained to tackle the ball carrier's nose, because when they do that, generally the whole head gets tackled, and the rest of the body normally comes down along with the head. 2. If unable to tackle the ball carrier via conventional means, they are trained to punch him in the nose. A couple of wiry defensive backs and a linebacker or 2 hold the hapless opponent until the nose tackle comes up and pops him one. The nose tackle is the only player who, by rules, is allowed to do that without being penalized. It's not exactly expressly and explicitly encouraged by the league, but it is certainly condoned. The refs will look the other way if it's a nose tackle on the giving end of a nose punch. But enough of that. This is no time for a course in fundamental football whys and wherefores. That very gentleman around whom our conversation has been revolving has been hired to nab me and throw me into the East River, or worse yet, the Hudson. We've got to skedaddle, vamoose, absquatulate, make like a tree and leaf. If I stay here any longer, I'll end up adding to the pollution at the bottom of the East River, along with the tennis balls, pop-tops, and American cheese. So, in the interest of public health and safety, so as not to inadvertently contaminate the water supply, not that I'm concerned in the least with my personal welfare, I will make the ultimate sacrifice of vacating the premises and move on down the road. Yikes! I just realized. It's more likely that his designs are to overpower me and heave me into the sewer with all the giant steroid-fed crocodiles for which New York City's sewers are famous. The McGorkles managed to make it to the PTC unmolested. Warble screeches his tires leaving the parking lot, barely missing the homeless man Warble thought he had recognized. When they exit the Holland Tunnel heading out of the city, Warble breathes a sigh of relief. He's about to tell Mary more about the origins of the Holland Tunnel, how it was used in the Civil War to transport tulips to the Union Army, which they used both as food and ammunition against the hordes of the insurrection, but he sees and hears that she is already sound asleep. Warble reaches into his shirt pocket and smiles as he feels the bulbous M&M. This grotesque little thing is worth a fortune, Mary, he tells her, although he knows she's in slumberland. If I hadn't found this misshapen, deformed candylet, my adversaries may have caught me. I could have cashed it in for a fortune, but I've ended up getting something even better from it, he says, taking it out and holding it up in front of his face, turning it around and around in his fingers and eyeing it lovingly. This scrumptious little tidbit saved my life. From now on, little M&M, he continues, addressing the oddly shaped piece of chocolate, you are my special buddy and my good luck charm. I will never abandon you. Just as you didn't let me down, I won't let you down either. Warble gives the green M&M a tender kiss, drops it carefully back into his shirt pocket, and gives the bulge at his breast a couple of gentle taps. After several minutes of distracted driving, during which he alternates between yelling at the other drivers, who keep honking their horns and shaking their fists at him just because he occasionally wanders a little into their lane, and fishing around in his wife's purse with his right hand, Warble finally finds that for which he has so eagerly sought. Warble flips the device open, presses a few buttons, waits a few seconds, and then, as the callee picks up, informs Morley that he has to give up his berth. The voice on the other end sounds uncannily like that of Mr. Slate, Fred Flintstone's boss. "Mutiny!" Morley shrieks. "Mutiny! If I ever get my hands on you, Warble Poundcake McGorkle, yes, I know your middle name, you old rascal, I'll have you keel-hauled." Warble just smiles and turns the cell phone off. He is in his element now. He is again footloose and fancy-free. On the road again, and heading west to Bethany, Oklahoma.